All right, here we have masks. One of the episodes that is most infamous for having a silly premise. And it's one of those that gets a bit weird because of just how A, the premise is legitimately silly, but also the fact that the silliness is because of the fact that it's a set of circumstances that no one is really sure how to deal with in real life because it's impossible in real life, and thus you're finding yourself uh, uncertain whether or not aspects of the story are realistic or not. So let's quickly go over the basic premise. Okay, so find the RC archive, which was launched from the RC system. They think. See, okay, the logic here is that the comet or comet-like object that they encounter in the episode, uh, astronomic uh, evaluation says that it probably came from the RC system, and what they think that it's however many million years old. Yeah. Um. Again, this is one of those things where Star Trek throws out a ancient precursor race that's incredibly advanced technologically, or at least, actually, that's a funny thing with this one too is that it's not actually clear how truly advanced the D'Arce are. I mean, yes, they built this thing, which having it still continue functioning 87 million years after it was built is actually quite impressive. It's not clear if it's functioning properly, just that it's doing something. Um, Unfortunately, that's largely all we actually know about their civilization is that they built these archive things seemingly as a way of preserving cultural information. However, due to the fact that episodes around them involve trying to find meaning in the weird stories that the D'Arce archives create, we do have some ideas. Like one, the first episode had Misaka as the seemingly most significant figure in the Arce pantheon. What was Misaka? Well, Misaka is seemingly their idea of a creator deity, kind of, sort of. However, Misaka is one of those deities who doesn't just create things from nothing. She rearranges the world around her to suit whatever her current objective is, which might involve killing you. Which kind of sort of fits with the whole thing of like the Enterprise getting like slowly destroyed by having pieces of it get replaced with things that aren't spaceship. Because as it notes here, said part of the episode involves having a section of the Enterprise get turned into an aqueduct, a part get rearranged to form a temple, and a swamp. How did the RC archive replicate a swamp? Because that's one of the things about this that's interesting and particularly disturbing. And one of the things that people point to as the D'Arce having advanced technology that the Federation doesn't understand is that this isn't a holodeck illusion. It's somehow reconfiguring physical matter to create this stuff. And while it gets changed back at the end of the episode, it's not clear if the changes needed to be triggered to revert or if simply shutting off the effect ended them. So, yeah. Oh, also, the Misaka mask that Data wears is something that Data sculpted while possessed by the D'Arce archive. So it remains afterwards because of the fact that it was not actually created by the D'Arce archive's influence. Oh yeah, that's another thing is that if you pay close attention to these glyphs, here's one that has a similar symbol to the one on the Misaka mask, and here's the symbol on the Korgano mask. Which Korgano, we don't actually know as much about Korgano as Misaka, just that Misaka finds Korgano to be a calming influence, and that having Korgano around makes Misaka tired or something. Yeah, they don't really explain that. Now, similar legends from other cultures is one of those things where Picard is just kind of sort of winging it and guessing. He doesn't really understand the character of Corgano and is making logical inferences. So, the stuff we see Picard say about Corgano is suspect. It's entirely possible that he doesn't actually know much at all. Anyways, so with all of that in mind, what would you do with this in a story? Well, there's two different basic things you could do in if you're doing, say, Star Trek Adventures. One, you could go with the approach of having a crew just bump into one at random and have it start to affect their ship in a similar way to what it did the Enterprise D. Maybe have it tell a different story because the idea here is that the archive was somehow um, recreating a tale from the Arce mythology. We think that's what it was doing anyways. They don't actually fully explain the story's origin. We don't understand enough about the Arce civilization to even know what role the story had into Arce culture. So it's entirely possible that it was actually just running a holo novel program or the Arce equivalent of a holo novel program. Because again, we don't actually know if, from an in-universe perspective, the story about Corgano and Masaka was actually something that the Arce considered to be factual and historical information, or if it's something that was actually fiction. Again, they don't really explain a whole lot other than the Arce archive contains a seemingly unfathomable amount of information, and also there is one aspect of this that um, I'll get into that aspect later. So having it be kind of like a puzzle encounter where the team has to figure out how to make it stop causing problems. Yeah, you could have fun with that. I do, however, suspect that people who've actually seen the episode would be like, "Oh, one of those things." But that doesn't necessarily mean that it wouldn't be fun to play with. Okay, so option two. Option two is to try to look at this from the aftermath perspective of like, okay, this ship encountered a D'Arce archive, and now your crew need to kind of sort of sift through the chaos that it caused. Well, one of the things that gets brought up in the episode is that Data is not host to only one entity during the episode. It actually said something about like 1,000 different personalities got temporarily housed in his positronic matrix somehow. Yeah, 1,000, which suggests that a lot of the data in the Arce archive is actually people. What? Yeah, we don't really have a whole lot of information about that because are these people mythological figures, or does the D'Arce archive contain digitized versions of the personalities of uh, people on the homeworld? Also, one of the things that's interesting here is that Misaka is a creator deity that is kind of sort of represented by a sunburst symbol. Here's the thing, though, is that why did the have their creator deity associated with the sun? Part of me wants to suspect that this is a hint that the Arce civilization had an unstable star, and that the reason they sent out these archives is because of the fact that they were concerned that their civilization was going to get destroyed and that they needed to, move material outside their solar system so that it wouldn't be destroyed by their if their homeworld was destroyed by the unstable star in their system. See, this is something that never comes up in the episode. They never talk in the episode about what the Arce solar system is like. They just mention that it exists and that the archive that Picard encounters left the D'Arce system. Well, it was created 58 million years ago and has been drifting through space since it left the D'Arce system. And that's all we know about the D'Arce system. There's at least one planet in it, and the planet has at least one moon because of the fact that Corgano is associated with the moon. Yeah, that's very generic. Yeah. That's the thing with this is that aesthetically, the D'Arce stuff is kind of like a sci-fi-ified version of Central American and South American cultural aesthetics. So Mayan, Aztec, Inca, whatever. They tended to have rather similar aesthetics because those groups were all related to each other. Um. Anyway, though, so having the group try to figure out how to deal with this, because like if the Arce archive was actually to like try to recreate the people in it and not just because like having it possess data is clearly not the way it was meant to work. They certainly did not write a computer program specifically to look for an android to act as an avatar. That's definitely not what it was supposed to do. The fact that it did so is interesting, but clearly it was meant to work some other way. So there it comes the idea that maybe possibly the program got distracted, or we don't know what the program was supposed to be doing in the first place. So you could run with the idea that on this other occasion that your party is in, the thing actually started recreating people. Could work as an idea. Because like having the people in the Arce culture start, physically manifesting as themselves and not taking over the bodies of androids, that would give you a lot of room to explore things that is less ethically problematic than having the Arce take over Data's body. And also, we don't actually know how many personalities are actually stored in the archive and what even the majority of the information in the archive is, because this thing is at least as big as the Enterprise D. and most of it is just data storage. Yeah. So, how much data is this thing storing? Presumably, more than the Enterprise D computer is capable of storing, because, quite frankly, if this is all just a giant hard drive, that's enormous. This is something that could legitimately contain the, majority of the important parts of an entire culture. A- Again, we don't really know all the stuff, and also this. Another thing about this that's an interesting plot point is that the Arce are supposedly 87 million years old. Okay, 87 million years old, and are there any actual survivors from this civilization? Like the whole 87 million years ago thing is just kind of like but there's the idea that maybe possibly either one of the archives may have created a colony world. Because, that is actually, something that you could, go with the idea, because, one of the things that was mentioned in a behind the scenes thing is that one of the versions of the script went with the idea that the Arce archive was actually meant to act as a more carefully controlled version of a Genesis device. The way it was affecting the Enterprise D was presumably not how it was meant to work. So, if it was to land on a planet, would it just, try to create the Arce city on the planet and populate it with people that are stored in its memory banks? It's an idea, anyways. Because again, it's like the what it was doing to the Enterprise D was weird and chaotic and seemingly non-functional. Like, it doesn't appear to have a proper plan. It's just changing things at random into random things. It's not um building something coherent, which suggests that it's not doing what it's actually supposed to be doing. But again, kind of speculation. Anyways, and yeah, all the speculation, like so many different things you can do with it. So, have fun with that. And I will see you later.